Hi guys, Shady Games here today and welcome back to my channel. We are back with another Sims 4 speed build. So today I thought we would do something fun and we would build Barbie's dream house. And honestly, I don't know why I decided to do this build. I just kind of was scrolling through Pinterest and I saw some like modern-ish houses, I guess, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect for Barbie. Like one of them just came up and it was like really like traditional with the columns out the front, and I was like, yeah, that looks so cool. I would kind of want to build a house like that, but I didn't want to build any house like that. I was like, I have to build it for Barbie. So yeah, this is where this video came from. And I feel like since we've done Barbie, we are going to have to do like an opposite aesthetic one at some point and do like a super gothic mansion, which is more up my alley, more of what I would personally pick. But yeah, I do enjoy how this turns out. I like pushing myself doing these builds that are kind of not normally my aesthetic or not in my like not normally a decorating style I would personally go for, just because sometimes I think I've said it before, but sometimes you kind of get stuck building one type of house because it's the house like type that you like, and you get stuck decorating in one way because it's like the aesthetic you enjoy, and then all your houses start looking pretty much the same, and all your Sims like stories that live in those houses are also pretty much the same. So I do enjoy doing these builds that are kind of a little bit more different, and I just find them very fun. I like you guys know, I love having I like doing a build where there's like a story behind the sim, and the sim has like this personality. Like I make up for every single house I do, I create a character, not like physically but in my brain I create who is going to live there, and I just imagine what they'd look like, what they'd do as a job, what their hobbies would be, and I use that process. It's kind of like my process of building, because I use that then to kind of determine who's going to live there, and it helps me decorate it and imagine what they would have and like what possessions they'd have around them. So since this was for Barbie, I kind of built it with like what I think she would like in mind. So we are working on the outside, and I wanted it to be very grand. It's on this big lot at the edge of, I think I put it in Willow Creek, and it's on this big square lot. It's got like rivers behind it and trees. It's a bit on a hill, and I specifically picked this one because it's like a bit of a driveway-esque entrance. So as you can see there, as I pan around very quickly, it kind of looks like it has a driveway that would like wrap around like that centerpiece of like foliage they've got there, and then you'd have this big house up on the hill, and I just think from the street it'd have a lot of curb appeal, and I thought that was 100% what Barbie's house would have. I imagine her house to be like above the rest, kind of like as you came into the town or the village where they all live, her house would be visible up above everybody else, and it's kind of like a statement piece of the like area, I guess. I kind of wanted to recreate that for her. I made this house, it's kind of grand, but it's not a mansion. The outside is definitely a lot more like bigger than the inside. I have like this really long walkway up to the house with the tiers that go up, and then we do like some landscaping. I wanted to have like a big back garden, or a big-ish back garden, I guess, so I kind of shimmied everything down and didn't make it as dramatic in the front, but we kind of still get that like effect, because in the back I wanted to give her like a decent sized garden, because I feel like, well, for me personally, Barbie, when I think of Barbie, I think of very much a social person. I imagine this sim or this Barbie to host lots of parties, lots of dinner parties. She's always got guests over, friends are always coming in and out, so I wanted to give her like lots of options where they could sit down and socialise. And I do kind of recreate that throughout the house. So as we get to those different areas, I will tell you about them. Of course, this house is very much pink and white themed. I do dot some other colours in there just so it's not as stereotypical. But let's just face it, Barbie's favourite colour is pink. So you can't get away from it. It just is what it is and you have to do it. There's like, you can't be like, well, I'm going to give her yellow because that's just, I mean, Barbie might like yellow, but Barbie's favourite colour is pink. So it had to be pink. There was really no other option. And working with these like platforms, I don't use them too much because I find them kind of difficult to work with sometimes. I use them more like in build, so I like doing like split level houses, so maybe like a sunken living room or like a bedroom that's got like a platform in it. I use it that way more rather than on the landscaping. So I feel like one day I'm gonna have to challenge myself and do like a really grand house, like not even make grand, maybe like a cottage, but it's like kind of nestled on like a cliff kind of thing. That'd be really cool, and that'll definitely be a challenge for me. Trying to do that. Trying to like work this all out eventually, like when I come in to do windows, it was a bit of a nightmare, I'm not gonna lie. This room kind of off the back here, that's kind of got this patio, this is going to be, I wanted this to be like a sunroom, So it's like a sunroom slash greenhouse. So I came in with these windows from I think they're from the greenhouse kit I tried originally. And none of them would fit because we have the foundation making it taller. It's not actually like room height that's tall. The walls are like I think they're like medium height possibly. But then you have like that big wedge of foundation at the bottom to make it kind of elevated. And the windows weren't fitting. And they were looking really weird. I do manage to like come up with a workaround in the end though. We do figure it out and it doesn't look as bad. But yeah, they were kind of giving me a bit of grief in the beginning. And then I decided to kind of come in and do the exterior. Just had some paint on it just to kind of get a vision of what I wanted it to look like. To then see if I wanted to do like pink windows or white windows. I know I wanted the house to be pink because obviously it's Barbie's house. But I didn't want it to be fully pink. So I came in with this brick effect. I think it's from Discovery University. And it's just kind of like a breeze block effect brick, I think. And it's in white. And I think it just kind of breaks up the pink. I did like that. And I just kind of added it to some of the jutting out portions for a little bit of difference, I guess. I really wanted to use these windows from Greenhouse, and I do believe I make them work in the end, but not this particular one, because I just think they look so cool. And when you when the room's closed off and the light is coming in through the windows, they make this really cool pattern on the floor, and I was like, yeah, that's so cool for a greenhouse. How many times was I cool in one sentence? I don't know, let's add a counter. But they weren't working, as you can see, because they weren't tall enough to match the height of the base and then everything that was going on, and it was a bit of a nightmare. So I came in with these taller ones, which are exactly the same. They are just like the taller version, and we do make these work. I do kind of fix the foundation there so you can't see. It's not like a massive gap and looks stupid. We cover that up. Unfortunately though, this version doesn't come with any that are half open, and I'm honestly not sure why. The smaller versions come with that little top window pushed open, and I think that looks good, but the taller versions don't, and it was annoying me. And you know what else annoyed me? Trying to find a bloody door that matched them. Oh my god, we don't have any doors that are that tall that I wanted to use. So in the end, I think I come in and use a little awning. Which, does it look the best? Probably not. Does it cover this weird gap we've got so it doesn't look like the house or the door is completely out of place? Yes. So I'm not going to remove it. It's the only way my brain would accept the fact that the door was smaller, by hiding the fact that you could see that it was smaller. So after that annoyed me, I decided to come back to the front and do something else so I didn't have to look at it anymore. And along here, I wanted the front to be very manicured. I imagine she probably has a gardener, or she does it herself, but I don't think it'd be overgrown or anything. I think everything would have its place. So I wanted to add these bushes, or trees, I guess, coming up the walkway into the front door. I originally fit 4, I think it is, in each section. But I was like, is that too many? I might come back in after and kind of shuffle them around a bit so there's less. I think I'd done it already actually. Yeah, there's 3 now. There was originally going to be 4, but it looked very crowded. And then I used this fencing. It's from Get Famous. And it glows. It's really cool. At night, it glows neon pink, this one, because it's pink, and the different swatches glow different colours. So I thought that'd be really cool for Barbie's house, especially I imagine she parties a lot. She hosts here, like I said. So when people are like, where do you live? And she's like, it's the pink glowing house on the hill. You literally cannot miss it. And it's just kind of I don't know, I just thought it looked cool. I imagine Joanne in Hollywood, where they do tours of famous people's houses. I imagine this house is definitely on the tour, even if she's not famous, because I don't know if Barbie is actually famous in Barbie world. I know she's popular, but is she famous? I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She would still be on this tour anyway. I come in now and add some balconies because I was having kind of an issue, I'm not going to lie, with the shape. I was having an issue with this roof also. It wouldn't let me bloody delete it. I had to force it to do it in the end. But yeah, the downstairs was kind of okay because I added in these jutty out pieces so it wasn't just a massive box. But upstairs, it was just a massive box. And every time I added something onto it, in my brain, all I was thinking was, how the hell am I going to roof that? So in the end, I kind of keep it as a massive box, but decided instead of figuring out some sort of fancy roof, I add in these little balconies around it, which I do think fit because, like I said, Barbie is she hosts, she does parties. I can imagine guests just coming up here, maybe sitting on the balcony of an evening or whatever, and just relaxing. So yeah, this is me kind of thinking I'm going to put a roof in, of deciding it would look absolutely stupid, and then here we go, I'm doing the balconies instead. There's 3, there's 1 on each side, and also I think it makes it look a little bit grander. I think that when a house has balconies, you're oh, that's posh. I don't know why, it just makes it look more expensive. And then on the back house, because this is like our greenhouse, like sunroom, I just give it like a glass roof. I was going to give it this one with that pattern, but I thought it looked way too much. And it didn't really match the house because the house is kind of modern. And that was kind of a bit more cottage, not cottagey, but traditional maybe. And it just wasn't matching. And then to line the walkway up to the house, I came in and added in like a bunch of spotlights. Just because at night I wanted this house to look really good. As I'm building, I do kind of flick through when I remember and check like the lighting of an evening. There we go. I told you I did it. And look at those glowing railings. Don't they look so cool? Yeah, I just come in, check like what it looks like at night to make sure it still looks super cool before continuing. That was me just trying to make it so it was center into the lot, because it would have annoyed me, and I know it would have annoyed all of you. I dread to think of the comments I'd have had if this was a tile off center. So I had to double check. And then I added in the fencing and stuff. I don't like adding in the fencing normally like too soon, because I find it super annoying when I'm trying to build. I hate being able to see it. So normally it's one of the last things I do. But when I was trying to plot out what I wanted with her like garden, what I wanted to be kind of like her statement piece, entryway, I guess, front garden, and then what I wanted to say for the back garden, so that we've kind of got that space where she could party, I had to add the fencing in. And it's not too tall. It's not too tall that when like you're building it kind of gets in the way. I then was thinking of like adding in 2 fountains, because I thought it'd be so cool like having fountains that are shooting water either side. But to be honest, they were either way too big or way too small. I did like these 2, but they're kind of a little bit small for the size of the house. I do make them work because I end up adding like a bunch of stuff to the outside. That kind of makes it more, like gives it more of a reason that the fountains would be tiny. I did try and make my own. I might do that in a minute. But I couldn't get it to work. I didn't like that. I wish you could like make your own fountain and then add one of these fountains onto it, because I kind of wanted like, so like the water of a fountain, say like it's round, and then in the middle of that I wanted a statue like shooting water. I didn't want it to just be like one level. So I tried to do the pond or the fountain, and then I tried to do another fountain piece like in the middle of that, so that I could then like put a fountain on, like put a statue on it. It didn't let you do that. You can't layer fountain pieces. It has to just be one level. And I didn't like it, so I did get rid of it in the end. And I come in and I add some driveways, because I feel like Barbie would have cars. And like I said, she's probably always going to have guests over here. So all her guests would have cars. So I just kind of did it. I don't really add cars to my houses or my builds, just because I feel like the only way to do it is to take the toy cars and size them up. And I feel like they look weird. So I don't normally do it, but in this case I was like, actually I think it would look nice. You know, you've got this nice big like mansion, I guess, on the hill, and I feel like it would have a lot of cars outside of it. So yeah, I've also, you have to let me know what you think. Well, I'm going to probably do it anyway, but I'd still like your opinion. I'm thinking of maybe doing some builds with CC. I'm going to mix them up though. I'm not doing every build with CC, but I want to do some, just because I feel like, just build by, obviously, because we don't really do creative. Just because I feel like sometimes when I want to do like a certain aesthetic, we just can't do it in The Sims. Like I wanted to do like a hoarder's house. I think that'd be so cool, where they've got like loads of stuff everywhere. But the clutter and the way I envision it, we don't have those items in The Sims. So I'm thinking of maybe getting some CC for that and kind of recreating it that way. And just, yeah, specialised builds, I guess. Like I could have put some CC cars outside this one, which would have been super cool. I'm just thinking of trying it. I will obviously do no CC builds, so that if you guys do want to download them from the gallery or whatever, you want to recreate them or whatever you want to do, you've still got that option. And I think if anybody like requests a build, because you guys are always free to do that, like if you're like, could you build me X, Y, and Z, I won't need CC in that, because I feel like that's like you want that, like somebody's asked for it, if that makes sense. So if they possibly want to ever download it, then I want to be able to give it them in a way that they can. But yeah, I love CC. I think it can elevate a build. It kind of gives us more items, which I never complain about, and like clutter and stuff. And it fixes some of the issues I just have with Sims, like curtains. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to go like super crazy, but I think it would be fun to introduce it and just kind of see how the builds change. But anyway, let me know what you think. I might put a video out anyway and just kind of see how it goes. But like I said, I'm not always going to do CC builds, maybe like every now and then or something. I don't know. We will see. Anyway, more importantly, let's go back to this one. So I decided to remove the fencing from around the whole build, because it looked weird. Because I wanted to separate the front and the back gardens so like people couldn't just wander through. And yeah, I just felt it looked odd having like the white fence going across, like separating the garden in half. So I came in and added some bushes, and I think it does look a lot better. It kind of makes more sense. And then we add our fountains in, and they don't look as small here because the space they've got to live in is like kind of small on its own. I then needed a break from doing the gardening because I'm not gonna lie, the like landscaping and stuff isn't my niche. I do enjoy it. I like making like flower beds and stuff, but it's not. I like doing the rooms the best. So I wanted to come in, kind of break it up. Don't worry, we do go back out and we do fix the front garden and we do the back garden. But I just wanted to kind of come inside while I was kind of having to think of what I wanted to do outside. So in the entryway here, I wanted to have a grand staircase because I wanted it to be a statement piece, and I'd have loved to have it where it kind of, you can go up either side and then you meet in the middle, like you can kind of see what I'm trying to do. But God, it wouldn't work. Well, it would work, this is it here, but it took up so much space. I wish you could make them smaller. Like, why does it have to be so big? Probably what I could have done is done like, so where it goes up before it like goes on the angle, I could have done up onto a platform and then gone up on like a second staircase up again onto like a completely separate staircase up onto the second floor. But then that would have took up so much space of the house, and the house isn't huge. I mean, it's pretty big, but it's not like a mansion, so it just wasn't really working. I was then thinking of maybe having it wrap around this like entry foyer thing, but I feel like the staircases look stupid because they were so skinny and the big ones were too big. I just don't think this was the layout for that kind of staircase. We will do probably a grand mansion at one point and add one in, but this was not it. So instead we just went for the normal staircase. It's double wide, so it's a little bit fancy still. And then, yeah, we kind of had this entry hallway, and off of it I put some archways because I feel like that's quite cool. Normally I do doors, but it kind of gives it that open feel without being open plan, because we all know I'm not a fan of open plan, and these mansions do, well, I mean, I guess it depends what mansion you've got. If you've got a modern mansion, they do tend to be very open plan and very spacious, so it kind of gives the effect of that without being open plan. And then upstairs, I kind of wasn't sure what to do. On the left is Barbie's room. I know I wanted it to be huge because I wanted to add like lots of things in there. And then I wasn't sure what to do with the rest of the space. So I kind of mapped it out. I mapped out like a main bathroom. And then I kind of just left it to come downstairs because I always do upstairs last anyway. And then depending on what I put downstairs, it kind of gave me ideas for what I could put upstairs. Like if I don't put an office downstairs, it could go upstairs, for example. This first room we're working on here is going to be our kitchen. I know I wanted it to be big because, like, as I said, Barbie is into socialization, I think. So I imagine she hosts a lot of dinner parties, which then turn into evening parties. And I just wanted to give her loads of space where she could do that. So I gave her a massive wraparound kitchen. I also imagine she bakes. I don't know why. I feel like she's very homey. I think she would be into, like, all that stuff, like baking cakes. Maybe she makes like handmade stuff for her friends as presents and stuff. So I wanted to give her loads of place where she could do that. And then maybe I also think she might have a private chef that comes in and cooks for her, because I think Barbie is a busy woman. So, you know, sometimes she can't cook. So there's plenty of space there. Maybe I gave them 2 fridges. So maybe like one is for like the chef and then one is her personal fridge, just so like the chef knows where she can come in and pick up stuff, and she doesn't have to like, it's kind of her space to do as with what she wants. I then decided it was probably best to come in and add some windows, because when I go in to do, I leave them normally because I'm like, oh, I don't know what room's going to be what, and I don't want to add all these windows in and then decide like it's going to be a bathroom and we can't have these huge windows. So I kind of do the floor plan first, and then I got carried away doing the kitchen, and I was like, oh crap, I'm going to have to put these windows in, because otherwise I'm going to put all these cabinets up against the walls, and then I'm going to have to move all the and then I'm going to have to like shuffle around all the windows, or I'm not going to have space for windows. So I decided to just come in, get it over with. Not going to lie, it's not my favourite job. Just because, I don't know, I don't know if anyone has any tips of making windows look good. I kind of go by the rule of no more than 3. You kind of have your main window, which is like the bigger version, that down there that I've got. Then your secondary window, which is like the skinnier version, I guess. Yeah, so this one I'm moving now is the main window. These are the secondary, and then you have a third, and no more than that. And the third is generally my bathroom window, just because it's like something smaller. And I did want these windows to kind of be very elegant. I wanted them to be a bit grand, just to kind of match the style of the house. And these ones are actually perfect. Honestly, I can't remember what pack they're from. Next time I go and put one down, I'll let you know. But yeah, they have like that ornate detail in the window panes that I really love, and the frame is like decorative on the outside. And I think it just levels up the exterior of a build when you've got something a bit like nicer, rather than just like if you're going for like super modern, you'd probably just go with the plain frame. But I think this adds kind of a little bit of old to the house, like old money kind of maybe. So maybe the house is like older, but then they've modernized it a bit. So yeah, I just kind of wanted something a bit nicer. Don't ask me how I'm going to add curtains to these after, because honestly I hadn't thought of it at this point. I just wanted pretty windows. To match like the double fridge, I thought it'd be nice if we gave them a double oven. I feel like it just screams wealth, and this house is for a wealthy person, so I just thought it would fit. And then I wanted to come in and add like some hood extractors, or whatever they're called, above it, but I don't know why these ones stick out from the wall so much. Honestly, I feel like maybe they're free floating. I didn't think of that at the time. I just thought it was glitched, and I didn't like them, and then these ones were too low. And I feel like the other options aren't that great. We don't really have anything for something super modern. We have these ones, which I love, from For Rent, but yeah, that's about it for like modern ones. The rest are kind of traditional or older style, which wouldn't fit the build. And then I wanted to come in and add like a lot of upper cabinets for her, just so she's got loads of storage, and to kind of complete like the kitchen off, I guess. The pink ones down like below, I didn't like the matching ones. They weren't pink anyway, so it didn't really go. But I didn't like the style of them. I didn't like the upper cupboards. So I went with these ones in the end, which I think these are just base game ones, but they don't match. I'm pretty sure they're not like the actual ones, but I think they go, and they look fine. And then we gave her a little sink overlooking the garden, so when she's doing her dishes, or whoever does the dishes, I don't know if she's got a maid, they can kind of just have a nice view. And then I added some breakfast bars, just so that someone can have a sit and they can kind of have a chat while they're cooking. And then at the front of the house, I just kind of placed down the thermostat and the new burglar alarm, because this house is definitely going to need a burglar alarm, because, you know, we've got a lot of expensive stuff in here and we need to protect it. And then I just added some basic clutter, nothing crazy. This house isn't very cluttered, it's kind of a bit sleek, but I just wanted to add a little bit because I think it just makes it look a bit lived in. So we have the standard stuff you'd have in the kitchen, like a bread bin, utensils for cooking and stuff. And then I also pull out some of the cakes, because like I said, I think she'd make her own cakes, so she'd have them like on display for when guests came over. And then in the corner there, I added like a little tea stand, because I imagine maybe she's like super into tea and like flavoured tea and green tea and all that. So she's kind of got like a little tea station so she can come in. She's got all her mugs to choose from, all her different flavours of tea. And she just kind of, yeah, makes it for all her friends. Maybe there's like a little teapot there so she can like have it a little bit decorative. Afternoon tea maybe if she wants. And I just thought it was like a little nice idea. And then I just come round, and obviously we have to shuffle everything so it kind of is placed a bit nicer than where it defaults to. But I'm not going to lie, that other cake stand, like the one, like that one that I'm moving in now, those cakes look amazing. They kind of look like they've got shortbreads or something with like a jammy heart centre. And yeah, I would like one of those. They should do a Sims cookbook, or even if does anyone know if there is one? Oh my god, that'd be amazing. I know there's a Stardew Valley cookbook, isn't there? But imagine one for the Sims. I would 100% make those biscuits, because they do look amazing. And then I come in, add like a little rug in front of the fridges. I've never done that before, but I thought it looked really cute. So yeah, I might be doing that in future. And then I wanted to add a rug into the kitchen. And yeah, it was kind of hard because obviously we're going through pink here, but I didn't want it like fuchsia pink, because I felt like that looked a bit much. So I was kind of coming in with like a more subtle one that kind of looks like, I'm going to say elegant, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like level up. Like, I don't want it to be like too bold, too out there. In the end, I think I do settle on this fluffy one, just because it's kind of the only one that sizes up well. I don't think that, when in my head, like all these like months, I've thought that rug doesn't size up well. I don't know why. I think I tried it one time and didn't like it, and then I've got it in my head that it didn't size up well. And then someone commented on one of my videos or one of my TikToks that it does size up well. I've tried it and they are in fact correct. I do like it when it's sized up, and it's great because I love a fluffy rug. So yeah, just fun fact, it does size up well. I was wrong. And then in the corner here, I wanted to add like a nice big table so when she's got all her friends over, they can gather around. I really love this round one. I love this, like the texture of the wood on top, but it just looked weird in this bay. It didn't really fit in the base, so it had to stick out so you could like access all the chairs, and it was just, I just didn't like it. So in the end, I come in with this square one, and it does fit a lot better. I do put it in the bay. Don't worry, it does go there. I try it in like that at this corner here, but it looks stupid. I had the old phone onto the side as well, onto the wall, just because I think it's super fun. And I love it, so I just added it in. I think I planned on adding one to the living room as well, but I think I forgot. So before I add this to the gallery, I will definitely add one. I love it. I just love that item, so I add it to all my rooms. And then in this corner here, I kind of want like a little display just of, I imagine she collects like art and what are they called, like statues. So I kind of wanted to add some bits out here, and we do add a lot of plants into this build with like different vases. And yeah, I keep it sleek though. I don't add too much. I just add a couple, which for me isn't too much. Normally I'd probably add 3 on there, but I've only done 2. So, you know, that means it's not cluttered. And then this is where I kind of realised that I didn't do anything for the walls. I was kind of waiting until I'd done the kitchen to see like what I wanted to do, because I wasn't sure like what style of kitchen I was going to do, and I think that I didn't want it to clash with the walls. In the end I kind of just go with this plain one with kind of this top trim, just because the tiles, I just didn't think they matched it, like the kitchen, that well. I think there's kind of, because we're using such a bright colour of pink, sometimes I think like the tiles were just looking too much. Like the pattern on them and the texture, it just made the room look a bit off. So I wanted something kind of plain, so we went with this one in the end. And then here I am now coming in and adding in some curtains. So the ones behind the counters, I just add blinds, because the counters do cover like a little bit of it. So I feel like she wouldn't want to, like, I don't think you'd have curtains there that you'd draw anyway. I imagine like just a blind is fine. And then the ones like here in like the main living or the main dining area, I guess, I do kind of have as curtains, because I imagine she can access these and she can draw them closed and it's not like a big deal. And then I add in a couple of rugs and obviously some plants. That pink fluffy rug that I added originally, I love that. I love the colour of it. But when I sized it up to like fit under the table, it was just too big, and it was like clipping outside of the room, which is unfortunate. So I kind of moved it for a more subtle textured one. And then we moved to the back of the house, I think, because I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with the hallway yet. So we kind of go on with like a little bit of the house, kind of figure that out a bit, and then I come back and kind of do the hallway. And I stand corrected, I did actually find some doors that match, and I do believe it's the one from the garden kit. So don't know why I couldn't find them originally, but they are there. Got there in the end. And then for the like, it's like it's not a living room at all. That is a lie. It's like a garden room / greenhouse. I do imagine that she can grow plants in here, but I also imagine like when the weather's nice, she sits out here and it just enjoys the sun, has a cup of tea, you know, just kind of relaxes. So I kind of wanted it to be a dual space. So we have that in mind. One half is kind of sectioned more towards not decorating, that's a lie again. One section is catered more towards gardening, and then on the other side we add in our seating area. And I wanted to add like steps down into it, because obviously we have the flight, well, not obviously, but if you didn't know, there's a height difference. So the main house is taller than out like in this sunroom, and then the sunroom has like that patio, you can see it, and then it goes down into the garden. So I didn't want to add stairs, like a staircase, so I kind of wanted to do something a bit different, so I added in these levels. And I don't know, you'll have to let me know how you feel about it. It looks a lot better when we decorate. And then for this like walkway room here, I do come in and I give Barbie an office, because if I know one thing, it's that Barbie is a businesswoman and she has her fingers in lots of many projects. So I thought I'd come in and give her a space where she can get all her businesswoman stuff done. I was kind of torn on what direction to go on here, because when I was doing the kitchen, I pulled out one of the rugs from the pastel pop kit, and it was like a retro 70s, like the swirly one with like, I think it's like pink and orange, and I loved it. And I was like, oh, we have to do like a pastel room for her. But then I was also kind of like stuck on the modern, and for a minute it kind of ends up being a mixture of the both, which just doesn't look great. I do think I pull it together in the end, but yeah, it kind of, I'm gonna have to do like a 70s themed Barbie house, or just a 70s themed house, because I love that aesthetic. And the pastel pop kit does give us like a few items that we could use, and especially if I use some CC, I think I could get it coming out really well. And I'll just like scratch that itch I've got of building a retro themed house. And then I give her a chair, because like when she's doing her businesswoman stuff, she might want to have a sit down and have a think. And that would be done in a comfy chair, I think. And then again, on the desk we just had some basic clutter, so a light, and then like a stack of like post-it notes and some pens that she might have for writing stuff down. And then in this half of the room, I imagine, is where she kind of gets her speeches ready, Joe, when she's going to like pitch her business or whatever. I imagine she comes over here and she's got the whiteboard so she can kind of like run through ideas. And then it is a scouts board, the other one, but we just have to pretend that it's like a pin board so she can pin like different things. Like maybe if she's bringing out like a new clothing brand, it's like an inspiration board and she can create that on there. I just kind of wanted to give her a bunch of stuff where she could like plan out her future business ideas and like her business meetings and like her talks and stuff. I feel like if Barbie was like a modern day Barbie, I feel like she'd be going to like conferences and like doing TED talks on like how to make a successful business, how to be a millionaire by 25, like like all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to kind of have something that would mimic that. And then of course this is an office, so we do add in a couple of bookshelves, and then I switch out that chair for this one, and it kind of is going kind of down like the retro / like pastel aesthetic, I guess. It is slightly different to the rest of the house, but I don't know, I just love it. It's that rug that I'm using now that started it all. If I'd never pulled that bloody rug out, this wouldn't have been an issue. But this space isn't the biggest. It's kind of like a walk-through room as well, so we couldn't add too much in. But yeah, this does end up being her office. There is a room upstairs which I turned into like a spare room, but you could put the office up there. But I was like, well, what would you do with this room? Because it's still a walkway room. Maybe you could do a dining room in here. I don't know. She doesn't have a formal dining room, I guess. You'll kind of see what she does. She does end up with two dining areas, but she doesn't have like a formal dining room like you'd expect in a mansion. So you could probably add that in here, honestly. And then I came through and tried to add some art to the walls, because I do imagine Barbie does like some art. She appreciates like some nice, but nothing, I feel like it's abstract or fashion related. And again, we don't have that many options. That's another place I think CC would come in and just help me with our build sometimes, because the base game, we have like a lot of pictures of like old stuff, I guess, but we don't have like many modern ones. So if someone's like a fashion designer, we don't have anything that could give like that art that I think they would have in her house. And the same with Barbie, there's not like that many modern minimalist pictures, I guess. So there's a few that we do use, like that one on the wall. I think that came from Get Famous or City Living. And it's just like a woman. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a fashion brand. Maybe it's Barbie's fashion brand. But it was just nice and big. And I think it kind of matched it, went on that wall. And now we are working on our little sunroom. We add a place where she can arrange flowers. And then that was me just adding in a microphone, because maybe she practices her speeches in that room. And then we come in and add some planters in here so that she can grow her own flowers and stuff. I imagine that she does do flower arranging and all like the plant pots you see like around the house, like all the vases and stuff. I imagine she's grown herself and kind of put together, which I think is really cute. I had this wall of pots as if like maybe they're in the middle of growing. They're like starters or something, so they're kind of like just in like the little plant nursery. And then I was going to come in and add some railings, because you don't want people falling off these stairs. I mean, they're not that high, but I just felt like it looked weird. It kind of divided the room up a bit. Kind of sectioning it off, I guess, because you had like railings either side, and I didn't like it. So in the end, we don't. I think I add some plants to the steps and kind of give the impression like, there's a plant there, don't walk close to the edge and you'll be fine. The Barbie in my life, or this Barbie I'm building for, she doesn't have kids. So I think it's fine that like it's not a kid friendly house, I guess. I'm putting in spiked plants here, so it's not like we have to be that cautious. It's just, she does have a lot of parties, so probably people here who are very inebriated, so maybe they are the ones who would fall over, but they're grown adults, so they've made the decision in life, so it's up to them. And then this is just like a little cute seating area. I imagine maybe she comes down here and has a cup of tea in the morning, or of an evening she just kind of sits and reads a book if it's nice. So I add in a couple of couches, and then like a coffee table in the middle, and some plants, that kind of stuff. I think I might go back later and add in a little bit more to that, just to kind of finish it off. And then this room here is going to be our living area. Again, it's quite big, and I wanted it to be like a living area and also a nice social zone, so we kind of mix the two. I'm coming in and just adding in curtains before I forget. And then this is when I realised that these curtains come in a swatch that faces the other way. When I was doing the kitchen, I was like, oh my god, it'd be so nice if this, like that window there, I was like, oh, I need the swatch that goes in the other direction. And I don't know why I didn't see it, because it was literally right next to the one I was picking up. But yeah, I didn't. And then when I did this room, I was like, oh my god, they do have it. Of course they do. Of course they thought of that. So I have to go back and fix everything. when I was like thinking about what I wanted in this room, I kind of imagined it as like a seating area and a living area, so I do add like that sort of stuff and add in a TV. But I also wanted it as like a nice relaxing area. I imagine when she's got people over and she's socialising, she hires someone to like play the piano maybe softly in the background. I put a microphone here so maybe she has someone like singing, and it's just like a nice place to be. But the shape of the room was kind of making that hard work, I'm not going to lie. Because we kind of have like a big archway to one side, but then we have like these bays. And yeah, it was just like the room is big, so you'd think it'd fit, but the room is awkwardly shaped. And I don't know, I feel like I was just pushing the furniture up against the walls, which wasn't like the best idea maybe. I do kind of come back to it and get it to work in the end. But this is kind of more like the living area and the seating area, so maybe they could sit here. You know, like when people have like dinner parties and they kind of invite everyone in, you've just arrived, they're like, oh, go through to the living area, have a drink. Like someone, like a waitress will walk around with like a tray on their hand, dishing out cocktails, and they'll all be directed here. And then in the background, someone's softly playing the piano and like singing into the microphone. Just like that. I imagine this room is used for. I just think it'd be nice. I wanted to give it to her so that she's got the option of doing that for her parties and her dinner parties and stuff. But then also, you know, when people aren't here and she's relaxing of an evening after a hard day of work, I wanted some of that felt cozy where she could sit down on a nice sofa and just binge watch her soaps, because I think Barbie would be very much into the drama of like, I don't know, like EastEnders or something. I don't know. I don't watch it, but I have watched EastEnders in the past, and I do know it's there's a lot of drama in there, and I do think Barbie would enjoy that. And yeah, again, I keep it very sleek in here. The wall, I think it's from Get Famous wallpaper, and it's kind of a bit bolder. It's like this pink with like this gold leaf pattern on it. So I didn't want anything too crazy on here that was going to clash. So we keep it very, like the furniture is white. It's very basic in there. I do kind of go have a break from it for a minute because the floor plan isn't working, and I'm like, I just need to kind of think about what I want to do. So I come out into the hallway. When I was doing the offices, I saw these kind of collage pictures, and I thought it'd be fun if we give them to Barbie, because I think, like I said, she's very social. She's got a big friend group, and she's very close with her friends. So I think she'd have like pictures of them all, like all of their adventures they've been on together on the walls. Like when they have parties and stuff, I imagine like maybe there's like a Polaroid camera that kind of gets passed around, and everyone just takes these really crazy pictures. She'd 100% have a photo booth. I've literally just thought of that. There's room in the garden. If you download this house, get the photo booth from high school years and put it in the garden, because that would 100% be here. And she'd have like loads of the cool props so that everyone could take mad photos, and then it'd go on the wall. So that is kind of what that is. I started off by covering that wall with the photo frames, giving it like as many as I could, but yeah, it looked weird. I feel like there's a fine line between having something cluttered, I say this all the time, having something like cluttered and it being too much. So I did have to hold myself back, especially for like this type of build. I think there are some builds where you can get away with it, but this wasn't one of them. And then for the entryway, I just kind of add some plants and like a little bit of a seating area. Just like general stuff. I don't put a lot out here because it's kind of, like I said, it's very open, and I didn't want to clutter it up with stuff and kind of make it feel like closed in by all the furniture here. I wanted it to feel, when you walk in, I wanted to feel it like very big, very open, very grand, I guess. So I didn't want to add too much. I had these kind of twin photos on the back wall, obviously in Barbie colours, so they do match. And I imagine they cost like a lot of money, and they are probably a prized possession or something, like maybe their collection, where, do you know, like when artists like are like, oh, I'm releasing like 8 prints, and maybe it's the same picture but just different colours, like that kind of thing. And Barbie obviously got 2 of them because she's Barbie and she would. And then I just add a couple of end tables either side to break up the space, add a plant, and then like another picture in like the similar tones to the room that match. And then I wanted like a nice chandelier. I thought it'd be really cool if you come in, there's like this grand chandelier, you've got the staircase, you've got all the expensive art, but all the chandeliers were either too big or they hung too low, and they just really didn't match. That cut there, I apologise for that, but I had to take a break. And I had to go off and do something else and kind of think about what I wanted to do next. So yeah, that was that. But now we get onto the living room. Sometimes I think it's not, like, if you're like stuck, it's just good to walk away, because when you like step away from it, go rest, go do something else, your kind of brain just comes up with these things on its own. And that is exactly what happened with my brain. It came up with the floor plan for what I wanted to do with this room all on its own. So we kind of move the seating area more centered, we make it larger, it's more of like a focal point. I do one of the sofas in blue. I'm just watching now because I realised that was a lie. I think I had to move it because of the piano, because I was still trying to fit that in. But yeah, we kind of make it a little bit bigger, because I kind of thought if Barbie is like hosting, she's going to need like all these different, like, a lot of seating and stuff. And this room is big, so I felt like just having like one or two sofas, like, you might as well just make the most of the space. So I add in a couple of sofas, we add in some seating, I bring in some blue just to kind of break it up a bit. And then in the corner I add a punch bowl, because like I said, this is where people, when they first arrive at the party, they're all going to be directed here to get like a cocktail and kind of settle in. So I kind of gave them a table where they could do that. And yeah, I think this kind of comes together in the end. It's not your typical living room, I'm not going to lie, with like the punch stand and like the piano and stuff. But I think it's appropriate for the space, like how I imagine Barbie using it. And I guess that is the main thing. I come in and add in a little bit more greenery, because the greenery does finish off a room. And it just adds a point of colour and some interest. And then these lights are from the luxury pack. I can't remember what it's called. But I think they're super cool, and I don't get to use them often because they're very like a specific aesthetic. But I thought they were kind of like modern and quirky enough that she could have picked them up from a very expensive art dealer or a very expensive high-end shop. So they do kind of fit in with the build and match a little bit. I'm coming upstairs now. I don't think I do upstairs yet. I think I'm just coming in and adding in the lights while I remember, and like the flooring, that kind of stuff. Actually, I'm not sure. I'm like watching it with you. It's been a couple of days since I finished like filming, and I'm just coming out to edit it all together and like do the voiceover and stuff. So I've forgotten what order I do things in. I might do upstairs. I know I don't do upstairs all in one go, but I might do Barbie's room, which is like that big room to the left. I'm just adding the doors now, sectioning it off to like how I want it. So for Barbie's side, I think this is where we are heading. That bit there where I'm adding the archway, I do a walk-in wardrobe, because we all know Barbie has a massive wardrobe. She has so many clothes, and she's going to need a space to put them. And then the room next to it with like the door is an ensuite. And then we have our main hallway with like a family bathroom off there. And then to the right side, where you've kind of got like another room, I end up doing that as a guest room. And then the guest room also has an ensuite. But I mean, you could change that into like a kid's bedroom. It's big enough. When I was deciding what to do there, I was torn. I didn't know if I wanted to do like a skills room. You could do like a meditation room. I think that would be cool for Barbie. I also didn't know if I wanted to do like a kids room and do like a super fun play area for them. But like I said, I don't imagine like this Barbie having kids. So I did a guest room in the end, because like I said, she does party and she does have a lot of people over all the time. She socializes a lot here. So I don't think it's out of the question that people would end up staying over. You know, if you drink too much, you can't drive home, or it just kind of, everyone's having such a good time that it gets late and nobody realizes. So yeah, I wanted a space where all her friends could stay over if she wanted them to. I put a double bed in there, so I guess 2 people could stay over, but you could easily put in sleeping bags or something. And I mean, there's sofas downstairs, so some people could stay on the sofas. Yeah, you could easily, if this was a party house and people like crashed here, you could easily fit a decent amount of people staying over, you know. I feel like drunk people just sleep anywhere. They don't really care as long as they can lie down. Some of them probably will sleep sitting up, so you know, they're not really that fussy, are they? And I came through and just added in all the windows so that I could like decorate to my heart's content without worrying like about covering all the walls and then having to like move everything for the windows. Also, ignore that rogue staircase in the background. That was for me when I was like doing the entryway, trying to like test it. I do remove that, but yeah, it just chills in the back garden for a little bit, but don't worry, it does go eventually. This is our master bathroom. It's the only bathroom for the whole like communal, I guess, so guests would use it. When I was doing this, I was like, oh, I definitely should have added one downstairs. You know, when they're having parties, maybe she doesn't want like everybody traipsing up. Maybe her friends can, but if her friends have brought like do you know, like sometimes like when people, I mean, it's personally never happened to me, but in the movies where people have a party, it's always people that have like heard about it and shown up, and but the host doesn't know them, and it always gets bigger than they expect. So I imagine maybe she doesn't want everybody, like people she doesn't know or people she just kind of knows as an acquaintance coming upstairs. There's plenty of room downstairs though for you to add a second bathroom if you want to. But I mean, if you're just thinking like this is a family house, there are 3 bathrooms. So if it's like mum, dad and 2 kids like sharing a room, there's plenty of bathrooms for everybody. Nobody's going to be cramped because there's like 3 of them. So each bathroom also has like a toilet, shower and sink, so it's a full suite. So yeah, there's plenty of spaces. It's just all upstairs, which probably might not be the best, but it's what we've done. And then yeah, we just add some basic clutter like some soaps, hand towels, flowers, and then like an art piece for the wall. Again, I tried to find one that looked a little bit high end, like it came from a dealership that was probably a lot of money, and we just kind of pop that between the mirrors. And then here I go adding in like the toilet and the shower. Again, we don't add too much clutter because I don't think this house has that much clutter. I think it has just a perfect amount, so it's like enough to show the personality of the person who lives here, but not enough that it's like feels super cluttered. I still wanted it to feel open and the rooms to be big. I added in a couple of bath mats just because they're my favourite thing to add, and like a toilet plunger and all that kind of stuff. And then under the window here I wanted to add a bench because I feel like when you go to like nice restaurants or even just like nice clubs, in the women's bathroom, I don't know about the men's, they probably don't do it in the men's, but in the women's they always have like a seating area, and I think it makes a bathroom just feel more luxurious. I don't know if it's because women go to bathrooms in packs, and like while you're waiting for someone you kind of, I don't know, we just make friends in the bathroom, don't we? So it's just like have a seat where we can sit down. It kind of turns, like the bathroom is also like a social zone, I think, for the women. So I've been into many a bathrooms where there's been seating either like in the bathroom itself, or you like walk through a room and it's got some sofas and then you walk through that into like the room with all the cubicles and stuff. And there's like mirrors in there and stuff so everyone can take their photos. So yeah, I kind of wanted to recreate that, so I added in like a little bench in front of the window there. And then this is Barbie's room, which is the biggest. I did it on purpose. It's very grand. We give her this like nice ornate bed, and we use a lot of the Get Famous stuff in here. Again, I don't add like that much considering it's like a massive room. There's not that much furniture. She gets a bed, her bedside tables, and then like a nice dressing area. I put it in front of the window so as she's doing her makeup or her hair, she can like look out over the views, over her garden. This house is in a very picturesque spot, like I showed you at the beginning. There's like a river that runs behind it. There's loads of trees. I just feel like it'd be the place where she's looking out and the birds are tweeting. You know, there's butterflies flying past her window. It's very picturesque. It's very serene. So while she's like getting ready in the morning, she can just like watch it all, take it in, kind of have a slow start. But yeah, that's just kind of what I imagine for her. And then I'm pulling out anything that is to do with like hair and beauty so that I can use it around the room. So there is like I can never remember what pack it's in. But it's like a piece that I'd go like a clutter piece, and it's got a ring mirror. It's not huge, and it's got something else. Like I think the mirror might be on something, or the mirror is next to a box. I know it exists because I use it all the time, but I can never find it and I can never remember what kit it's from. I thought it was from the Everyday Clutter kit, but I like filtered by that and it wasn't there. It didn't come up, so I don't know where it is, but I wanted to add that because I feel like we don't have any mirrors that go on these like vanities or these desks, so I like to add that one. But yeah, I couldn't find it. I don't know where it is. If I find it, I'll comment below and let you know where it is in case you're all curious. But it does exist in the game because I use it all of the time. And then I also just kind of on here I add in like a little stand where her baubles might be. Somewhere for her to put headphones, like a yoga mat. Maybe of a morning she can go onto her balcony and do some like yoga. I think that would be fun. A plant, and then I just add like a little lamp in the corner there. And that's basically it up here. I kind of give her a couple of other bits like this. I give her a chair, I think, and some artwork. But that is it for like main furniture. She doesn't really get much else. I think because she has like the walk-in wardrobe, she doesn't really need that like a wardrobe or any other dress in here. I do give her the one, which I imagine she might keep like her socks and pants in, and like maybe her gym equipment, and like just stuff you don't want to hang up. So like maybe like bigger jackets that you wouldn't have all year. like that kind of stuff. So she does get a bit in her bedroom, but then the walk-in wardrobe is definitely the main event. I use these like hanging wardrobe ones from high school years, and I wanted to add in 2 side by side, but they didn't fit. They're so big. So in the end, she kind of gets 2 of these 2, and then I do fit in some like single wardrobes. So it does kind of give the effect still that there is a lot of stuff going on here. I feel like they need to bring out a pack that is like an IKEA themed walk-in wardrobe pack. So like Joe, where we have the book nook kit, where you've got like the book pieces that you can like attach them together, and you can build like a bookshelf that goes like up the wall, across the top of the window and down. Like you can create like custom things like that. I feel like we need one for walk-in wardrobe. So we have like dresses, and we have like cupboards and taller ones and stuff, and we can kind of make a suite how we want. I think that would be fun, and I don't know why they've not done that yet. I feel like, was it The Sims 2 that had an IKEA collab? That was fun. And then I give her a long mirror in there, the high school years one, because it's my favourite. And it also, I feel like when you're trying outfits on, it's nice to be able to have like a floor length mirror so you can see like your whole outfit. And then a fluffy rug, because again, you know, you want it to feel luxurious in there, you want it to feel nice. And also, if she's taking pictures, I think the fluffy rug will just add a little bit of interest to the floor and make the pictures look nice. And then this here is going to be her bathroom, and of course we could go with no other colour than pink. We do like the master bathroom, I guess, or like the main house bathroom is blue, and then we do end up doing the guest room purple. So there are other colours in here, but like I said, it's Barbie, so like the main colour has to be pink and white, I think. We give her a nice bath in front of the window, so that she can like relax. I feel like sometimes she's a hard worker, so when she comes, she's had a hard day in the office, she's maybe done some speeches, she's pitched some business ideas, she's done some investments or whatever, and she just wants to come home and have a nice bath. She can sit there, she can look out, there's nobody overlooking her at the back, so you know, she could risk it all and not bring down that blind so she could see. Maybe she can add a privacy film to it, so that's like one way, so she can see out but like people can't see in. So she can like watch the views and just relax. I give her some candles, I think, like dotted around the bath. I'm pretty sure I put in a shower also, because like I said, sometimes the Sims take forever to bathe. I don't know why, it takes them like 3 hours in game to just have one bath. So I like to give them a shower too, so like in the morning, if they're rushing to work, they're not going to be late just because they're having a bath. That they started at like 4 a.m. and at 9 a.m. they're still in there. So I do like to give them both, and I think I do kind of fit it in next to the toilet here. I'm pretty sure I do. If I don't, which it does, it's not looking like it, you know, there's other showers in the house, so maybe she can I don't think I do. They can just use this one for a bath, but there are other options for her. I love this room though. I think it turns out so well. I love the shower. I mean, nope, we didn't do a shower. I love the bath in front of the window. I think it's super cute, and we've got the candles on it so she can get like a little bit cozy. Maybe they're like essential oil kind of ones, so they like promote like relaxing or like sleepiness or like that kind of stuff. And now we are coming on to the outside. So I leave the guest bedroom upstairs, like it is a guest bedroom, but at the time I didn't know it was going to be a guest bedroom, so I kind of leave it. I come back outside, do some stuff out here while I'm figuring out what I want that to be. And I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed doing this garden, but I'm not going to say struggle. I found it a little bit of a challenge because I'm not used to doing such big gardens, and especially because I wanted it to be like a specific theme. Like I wanted the garden to very much be a hosting place. Like when she's having her parties, if it's a dinner party, they've had their dinner, they've all sat down, they probably drank a little bit too much wine, they're getting tipsy, and now they want like a place where they can continue the good vibes. And I wanted that to be outside. So she has a pool area, so you know she can host pool parties. And we kind of do something a little bit fun on the other side, which I won't tell you what it is. Spoilers. But yeah, it was fun to make. And you'll have to let me know what you think of it. But for the pool area, it's very basic. The pool kind of wraps around. I give her some places where they can have like lilos on the water. And then just like a place where she can sunbathe by the water if she wants to do that instead. And then on it, I just put like a little drink stand. I think it's mineral water, but we're all going to pretend it's some cocktails. And then either side of the steps here, I add these plants, which are from, what kit are they from? Get Famous maybe? City Living? One of those. And they're really nice because I love the little like border around them. It's tiles and it comes in like different colours. And it just so happened to have a pink swatch, and I thought it was perfect. And this over here, what we are working on now is, I think, the grand event. Like this is kind of the vision I had for the garden when I first started. And it's like an outdoor club. So I imagine she hires a DJ, there's a bar, I put a dance floor, we add like loads of lights. I imagine like they're like pink neon lights, and maybe they're in tune with the music, so as like the bass is going, the lights are flashing, and I just think it would be a fun place for them to be. This house is kind of up on the hill, so she hasn't really got to worry about her neighbours and like making too much noise. So I just think it'd be perfect for a party. And like I said, I just imagine Barbie is very social, and I imagine she hosts these parties a lot. And I thought, why not just give her her own nightclub so she can do just that? So I give her a bar with a couple of stools, and then this here is like a seating area so that people can like lounge. Like if they don't want to dance, they can sit down. There's plenty of places where they can sit and have a talk, and just kind of catch up and just enjoy the evening. But then they can also have a drink at the bar and dance on the dance floor. I also give them the this stand. I can't remember what it's called, like the bubble stand, is it? We all know what it is. And I think it fits the party very well. And I just imagine there's a lot of people here, just kind of some chilling on the sofas, chatting, some at the bar, some partaking in other activities like this one I'm putting in now. And I just think it's like a trendy place. It's the place to be, People aren't queuing up to try and get into the hotspot nightclub. They're all trying to get into Barbie's parties of a weekend. And then down in this corner here, I wasn't really sure what to do because the garden is like a funky shape. I just ended up coming in and putting like another seating area. I think I put a fire pit in the middle, which probably isn't wise considering this area is definitely designated for people having a drink or taking like doing fun activities. I don't really know how to describe it in a PG way. I mean, they're not doing anything hardcore, let's relax. They're just like enjoying themselves. So fire around people enjoying themselves like that probably isn't the best, but it looked cool. And I imagine like if it's like an evening, it'd be nice to, if it's like cool, it'd be nice to come over, light the fire. In this corner, I do add in like I imagine those little fridges to be like mini fridges, so they've got like beers in and stuff. And I do add in like that barbecue stand. That becomes mute point later because I add in another section that kind of erases that, but I forget to come back in. I took another break. Because I kind of did the swimming area the other side. This is the party area, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do at the decking. So I do take another break, not gonna lie. And I come up with the perfect idea, and then we don't need that barbecue section anymore, but I forget to delete it. So it's fine though. I mean, it's fine. And then I come in and just add some dirt around the bushes because it was looking weird that they were just on like pristine grass. And then it was throwing me off where you have like the patio and then that just cuts off onto pristine grass. There's no like segue into the grass, I guess. I don't know. I just thought it looked weird, so I come around and add in like just a tiny bit of dirt around everything. And then I check it over like at night time to see what it looks like all lit up, and I do think it looks quite nice. I do think I come in and add just a couple more lights just to make it pop a little bit more, I guess. But yeah, I do think it looks nice at night. It looks very party with those like neon what are they called? Neon railings, I guess. So this is what I was originally going to do here. I was just going to do seating, and I was like, I did it, and I was like, lame. That's so boring. I mean, it's not that boring, but it's just kind of like nothingness. I think it's a waste of space, if you ask me. So that's my break. If we didn't tell about that harsh cut, that was my break. And what I decided to do was an outdoor kitchen. Because I imagine this lot is somewhere that just never rains. You have the perfect weather all the time. The temperature is perfect, and you can do a lot of outdoor eating. So I imagine sometimes she hosts her parties out here, and they can cook. There's like a nice fireplace. So if it does get a little bit chilly, they can turn it on, or they can just turn it off for aesthetic reasons. It's from the it's not. It's from the Desert Luxe kit, I think. The cooker. And it doesn't come with a counter, which is really annoying. And none of the in-game counters match. Again, annoying. So I go with this for rent one because the pack is obviously Desert Luxe, so it's kind of deserty. And I think the for rent counters match that perfectly. They also give that like boho deserty vibe, I guess. So I had to go with them, unfortunately. I know it's sad. I'm joking. Those are my favourite counters. I love using them. And then I give them a fridge and a sink just so they can clean up. But yeah, I think this is a really nice space. I know Especially in America, I see a lot of people use black stones, I think they are. I'm obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with watching people cook on their black stone. I don't know why, I just love it. And I feel like you guys like cooking outside a lot. And you know, you have barbecues and stuff. I mean, in the UK, we have like one barbecue a year because it pretty much rains. We have like 5 days of summer, so we don't really get that opportunity. But I know in hot countries, Australia probably, you guys like to be outside cooking and, you know, just enjoying the weather. So I felt like it'd be nice to give them an outdoor kitchen so that they could do that as well. And yeah, it's not the biggest space. Like we get 7 chairs. No, incorrect math. We get 8 chairs. So, you know, she can have her closest friends here. So maybe they come over for the dinner party and then the nighttime guests arrive after they've all eaten. I don't know. I just thought it'd be nice. Or maybe they do like, what's it called? Like nibbles. I don't know. What's the posh word for it though? It's basically like finger food, but there's like a special word for it if you're posh. Can't remember what it is. Or if you go into a fancy event, they don't call it finger food. They call it something posh, but it's basically finger food. Where people just like come around with trays. Hors d'oeuvres. Is that the word? I don't know. You can tell I go to a lot of these parties. But, you know, maybe the chef is there cooking up like little bites of food, you know, where you have to eat so much because you're so hungry that it's not filling you up. I mean, it's tasty, but it's just not filling you up, and you feel like forever trying to flag down a waiter so you can get another bite, but you don't seem too eager, like you're eyeing that tray as it goes around the room. But you don't seem too eager because you don't want anyone to be like, well, you're eating a lot. Yeah, I am, because every bite is one mouthful. I'm a grown person. I need about 17 just to take the edge off. You know what I mean? I need this coming in hot and fast. As they're going off the tray, just a conveyor belt into my mouth, because that is what I need, you know? We're adults. If you're going to give these like little picky foods, I think you should give it a meal too, so that we can have something, like a decent hit. So like give us a burger, and then maybe a couple of hours later, bring out these picky foods when we've taken the edge off. You know, we're just kind of keeping it going. Anyway, this is now what I do with the guest room. I have finally decided that it's going to be a guest room, obviously, so her friends can stay over if they party too hard. And I wanted to mix it up from the pinks. We go with a lovely shade of purple. And I think these are new beds. I hadn't seen them. I know Base Game has just done a big update. But when I logged in, like my game was updated, but the catalogue didn't look like anything changed. So I was like, oh, maybe I didn't get it. Just me. Everyone else did. I didn't. I was victimised for some reason. But I think maybe it just didn't notify me in the catalogue that things were new. But I'm pretty sure that's new. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Unless it's normally just a swatch I don't look at. Like the default swatch is just not one that I'm interested in, I guess. And sometimes that happens. Like I don't notice things because the default swatch isn't a colour I use. So I never see it. And then I only see it when I like specifically search by a colour, because I'm doing like, say, an orange room. So I'll search by orange and then I'll see the orange swatch and be like, oh my god, that item's really cool. And now it's my new favourite, but I didn't notice it before because the default shade or the default swatch just isn't something I like, if that makes any sense. So I do miss items quite a lot. So it could just be one of those, but I'm pretty sure that's new. I don't know. I know there's a lot of new stuff in the cast. I know we got some new clothing, but I think we got some new decor items. I did have a look there and I couldn't see them. I might try updating my game again. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I give them a wardrobe. They get like a fun piece of art and then just like a side table. It's very minimal in here because obviously it's a guest room. So there's not like that much stuff in there. There's not that much personality. It's just kind of like your basic stuff. It's just to like, if somebody is crashing here, they've got a bed. And yeah, I give them like a little seat in the corner. I do pull out this one originally, but then I'm like, yeah, that don't match. I do love it. It's one of my favourites armchairs, but it doesn't match. So I do end up swapping it for a purple one. And then I had like a nice little rug underneath it, just to kind of break up the floor. This room does turn very purple. I was kind of thinking maybe I should come in with like a different colour, like more white maybe. But I don't know. I like how purple it is, I guess. I think it matches the room well. And then this is their ensuite. Obviously, they get a bath and a shower combo. And then also a shower. And don't ask me why I did them both. I think I didn't realise, like, I know that is a bath shower, but I think my brain just deleted that information. It was just like, that's a bath and there's a shower. So yeah, they have them both. But I guess it's fine. You can, like, if there's a couple in here or, like, best friends, like, one can shower and one can bath at the same time. I don't know. it's just there, isn't it? It's just there. And then the toilet is unfortunately directly in front of the window because that's the only place it would go. I do check it from the outside and you can see it. You would be on display, but it's kind of the back of the house, so you know there's not that many people there. And again, I imagine these windows are frosted, so you can't really see anything. You can just see like a vague outline, so it's fine. And then I give them some like general clutter, so some towels, a toothbrush, soap, that kind of stuff. I imagine that this is, do you know some of those houses where you go to where you have a sleepover at your friend's house, and they're like, oh, I need to pack my toothbrush. And oh no, don't worry, I've got spares. Like they just have spares because they just expect people to stay over. So they've got spare towels, they've got spare pajamas, they've got like slippers, like toothbrushes, like your basics that you would need if you stayed over at someone's house. They've just got it because they just expect people to constantly be staying here. I feel like that is Barbie too. She's got everything you could need to sleep over if like you weren't planning on staying over and you decide to. She's got you. So she's got spare towels if you need a shower, she's got shampoo for you, she's got toothbrush, toiletries, pajamas, like that kind of stuff. So you could rock up to this house with just the clothes on your back and you would be completely fine, which I think suits it because I imagine that a lot of the people that stay here don't plan on it. They just kind of get carried away partying and then like, crap, do you mind if I stay? And she's like, of course not. And then in this hallway up here, I just add some art. I add a plant. I give them this like sloth picture because I don't know why, I just think it would suit Barbie. I think she'd find it funny. And yeah, just like that big piece of art I think would be very expensive. So she gets that. And then on these balconies here, I just add in a couple of seating areas. Like of a morning, they can come out, they can enjoy their coffee. You know, if they're hungover, they might need that fresh air. So they can just sit here and kind of debate their life choices as they fight their hangovers. And yeah, guys, we are coming to the end of the build. I hope you enjoyed. We're going to go on to a tour. And yeah, let me know if there's any other builds you want me to do or anything like that. And yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.